the Lord, brothers and sisters. So happy to be back yet again. I thank God for you tuning in. I'm very excited about this message, and I thank God for yet again another message. I don't make messages all the time. So when I make a message, I pray that God literally uses me in an outstanding way to serve you and to help you in every way so that you can literally use the tools, the knowledge, the insight, and the wisdom to benefit your life and your journey with God. So, without further ado, let's get into it. The couch. What was it? No, the backstory. That's the title. That's right. The backstory. All right. So, when you think of the backstory and you think of the therapist, and this is exactly what this video is mostly talking about, is should you go to a therapist? Is it important? I know a lot of people back in the days would go to therapists, and it was always accessible to people that didn't necessarily look like me or come from where I was brought up in. You know, you didn't have the access, or it was very expensive, or, you know, there was a stigma behind it. You know, you're crazy. Why are you going there? But these days, brothers and sisters, believe it or not, just like getting braces back in the days was for the weirdos and for the nerds, getting braces now means that you have money. It's a thing. I'm telling you, it's a thing. Both of my daughters, you know, have braces. Well, one of them, they're off. My other daughter has braces now. But, you know, it's not only a cosmetic luxury, but it's a cool thing to get now. Back in the days, braces was like the weirdest thing. But now it's changed, you know, it's a status symbol. So therapy now is a form of a status symbol for a lot of people. You're going to see a therapist. A lot of people feel differently now, you know, for whatever reason. But the bottom line is, whether you went back in the days where it was taboo or you decide to pay the money, to take the time and to invest in your mental health. Well, let's go through a couple of things or a couple of reasons first. I'm going to lay some foundation as to why people usually go to see a therapist and what therapists usually do. They assess your situation. They diagnose your situation. They make plans and blueprints as to what you need to do to progress and maintain your mental health and stability mentally and emotionally. They help you sort out and come up with a plan, and they check on and they maintain your progress. They refer you out, basically, and I'm thinking, if a person is just far gone, you know, to the point where they need extra, you know, help. Now, mental health is something that you don't play with. There's people on different levels of mental health that literally, hear me, need the extra help. And the worst thing that you could ever do in life is deny the fact that you need help and pretend that you're okay. Some people usually say, you crazy not to get help, or you crazy, you think you crazy if you go there, you crazy not to get the help, or something like that, you know. But anyway, I digress. The point of the matter is, you have to go there to literally be willing to be vulnerable, right? You lay on the couch or you sit up in the couch, whatever the case is, and tell your backstory, literally. You tell them about your triggers. You tell them about your triumphs. You tell them about tragedies. You tell them about your vulnerabilities. You tell them about your setbacks, your attacks, your fears, your lacks, your highs, your lows, your yeses, your nos. Huh? You tell it all. You bear not your soul, but you bear a lot of things that you don't normally share with a lot of people. So it should be a form of trust, a place of respect and dignity, and place where you could be vulnerable to that person to literally share different things that you've experienced. And these things that you typically have experienced have to do with the past, right? Typically. I mean, sometimes they have people that tell therapists about what they're going through, but usually, hear me, When you speak to a therapist, they always want to know the basis of who, what, when, why, and how. And it's the genesis story. It's the backstory, right? They want to hear about what happened growing up. They want to hear a lot about your lineage, your family tree. And when they usually do that, what they do is, hear me, and I'm not a therapist, but it's just common sense. They usually get some type of understanding of who, what, when, why, and how, right? So when they get that who, what, when, why, and how, right, what they've done is they basically try to analyze the situation and hopefully come up with a plan of action, right? And in the midst of that, whether you go for, I don't know, a couple of sessions here or there, the goal is that when you make your last session with them, right, whether it be a year, whether it be 2 weeks, whatever the case is, eventually it will be your last day, right? So if we fast forward all of the times that you told them your backstory and the times that you sat on the couch or laid down on the couch and literally bared it all, right? There is going to be a last day. And in that last day, quote unquote, the graduation day, if you would, in some ways, right? There is supposed to be, or hopefully supposed to be, some resolve, right? There's supposed to be some type of ending or some type of beginning in a lot of ways. A new life, a new outlook, a new you, right? The goal is that with exposing or uncovering or revealing a lot of the past traumas and hurts and triggers and pains and all of this stuff, there is change, right? You get to love differently. You get to live differently. You get to act differently. You get to grow differently. You're conscious about different things that you wasn't conscious of, right? Everything is on the table. Everything is revealed. You take ownership. And I think that a lot of people, when it comes to taking ownership, not pointing the finger, right? Not playing the victim, right? But taking ownership is so important and vital in your growth and development and restoration, right? Okay. So there's one thing about the Lord, right? And I'm gonna digress a little bit, but there's one thing I want to talk to you about God is he does not change, right? He's the same. He doesn't need a shrink. He doesn't need advice. He doesn't have a boardroom of people giving him advice on what he should do. He is the all and end all, right? He makes sense. He makes the rules. He does it all. But see, we have to change. Why? Because we always change. We're fickle. One moment we want to be this. One moment we want to be that. One day we like this. One day we don't like that. And we're always not on a even, consistent plane, right? God is consistent. His word lines up. His word doesn't change. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. So with that fickle mind of ours, with that bipolar innuendo of one way, one day you're this way and one day you're that way, a lot of people are like that, right? Humanity has its way of oftentimes, right, not sticking to one thing, right? Not being consistent in one thing. And that's how you really know, brothers and sisters, who's who. Because if you have somebody in your life that's literally consistent and every day you already know, okay, this person is this way and they're going to be that way and they're not going to change. This is the way they are. It could be for the good or for the bad. Huh? I said it could be for the good or the bad. Because sometimes, brothers and sisters, you may have a person, hear me, that are stuck in their ways and they don't want to change. They have a bad disposition. You say their name, and their name or what they represent triggers you, brings you back to old feelings of anxiety, of stress, of pain, of deception, of drama, whatever the case may be. All right. And then you have somebody that may be in your life, and you think about that person, and that person is love, that person is peace, that person is joy, that person is laughter, and that's their consistency. So what do you do, brothers and sisters? Do you see the strength, or do you not see the strength? Like, let's get to this point, Samantha. Well, brothers and sisters, it's entirely your choice. It's entirely your choice. Initially, I had the disposition of, no, I'm not going to see a shrink. For what? I'm not telling them my business. A lot of them are not saved. But I'm telling you, my mindset was like, a lot of them are not saved. A lot of them are in for the dollar. A lot of them, don't even care about me. A lot of them this, and that. But the more I thought about it, and the more I realized that each and every one of us, right, deserve a moment to talk to somebody. Whether you're telling the truth, whether it's a half truth, where it's a lie, or whatever the case is, everyone on this earth, I believe, deserves to be heard. They deserve to be heard. They deserve to be heard. Now, whether the therapists believe it or not, that's up to them. Because I'm sure there's a lot of therapists just thinking like, this person is just full of it. This person is a drama queen. This person is playing a victim. This person doesn't want to change. This person is controlling. This person, they probably have their own analogy of a lot of people that they see. But the bottom line is, it's their goal and their job, right? To listen. To listen. And the more they listen, right, they have a lot of options. They can say, you know what? I've done heard enough. I don't want to hear no more. This is what I really think. You need to do this, and that. They could take that approach with the tough love. Or, just to get the money, they could be like, oh, you're right. Tell me more. Oh, you're such a victim. Oh, wow. I can't believe they did that to you. I'll see you next week, and I'll see you. Just be on time with your checkbook. And they don't care nothing about you. So the more you book with them, the fatter their wallets get. So keep that in mind as well. The goal is, brothers and sisters, you need help. Huh? That's right. The goal is you went to them for a reason. And the reason is there's some sort of dis-ease. There's some sort of sickness. There's some sort of trauma. There's some sort of thing that happened that needs to be not only corrected, right? But erected. Oh, man. Huh? Not only corrected, but erected. Because the more that thing is buried, the more whatever you went through, the trauma, the secrets, the lies, the betrayal, the hurt, the this, the that, the more that is subsequently hidden and not dealt with, there's no change and consistent growth. There's just the same old you with the same old sob story. And unfortunately, you're going to find yourself, in the grave with that same old disposition of not getting better. When you leave this earth, you want each and everything in your whole soul, heart, mind, body, and spirit to reflect God. You don't want anything, hear me, you want when you meet God, that there's no pointing of the finger. You want, when you meet God, right? There's no excuses. You want, when you meet God, there's no lies, there's no hypocrisy, there's no witchcraft, there's no witchery, there's nothing but purity, pure heart, pure mind. And in order for you to have a pure heart and pure mind, pure soul, right? There's no agenda. There's no protection of, ego. That ego is dead. Huh? When you kill your ego and literally allow yourself to be vulnerable, that's when change and transformation occurs. I'm going to say it again. A lot of people are in their sick disposition year after year after year is because they don't allow their ego to die. What is ego, Samantha? Break it down to me. Ego is feeling, hear me, that you have the right to basically not be touched because of who you are, and not be touched because of your reputation, not be touched because of what you've done in the past, not be touched because of your namesake, not be touched because you're all that in a bag of chips. And once you crush that ego and stay humble and say, you know what? What if I did mess up? What if it was me? What if I'm the cause? What if I need to get myself together? Once you always have that disposition of self-reflection, right? And self-accountability, that's when change will occur. Listen, if you get on a shrink's chair and always have the disposition of playing the victim, right? It's everybody else. Everybody else is bad. Everybody else's fault. Everybody else. It's everybody. I'm perfect, perfect, perfect. And, they should be worshiping the ground that I walk on. You're never going to get set free. You're still going to stay sick. You're still going to stay witching things up. Let me just say that. Witching it up. And it's sad. It's sad. And I'm not talking about just women. There's warlocks out there, men, that literally are not walking in the light of the Lord in spirit and in truth. So, should you go to a shrink or not? I think that everybody, like I said, should have someone that they literally do their research on and say, okay, I want to entrust this person with my time. You don't just pick anybody out of the, yellow pages and say, okay, I'm going to close my eyes and, put my hand on this and let me just go. No, you have to do your research. You have to make sure that this person literally has not only the credentials, right, but the common sense. How about that? Huh? How about that? Do they have common sense? Do they have spiritual insight? Huh? Are they morally sound, ethically sound? What are their views on this? And what are their views on that? Do they really care about people? Or are they just trying to get a check? You have to do your due diligence. But yes, absolutely. I think that everybody in some way, shape, or form, as long as you are breathing, have dealt with some form or shape of trauma and of triggers. And yes, you should be heard. And yes, there should be someone that you can talk to, that you can get that off of your chest. And not only get it off your chest, but get help. Get help. Absolutely. But you have to pick the right one, brothers and sisters. You have to pick the right one. Years ago, I didn't think it was necessary. Years ago, I didn't think it was necessary. But yeah, nowadays, I do think that it's necessary. I do think so, yes. but you have to pick the right one. Some children, based on what they see, and based on, what they've gone through, need therapy. And there's nothing wrong with that. The stigma should be gone. There's a lot of people out there that are literally running wild and rogue and literally out of their mind. And they need help. And they're not getting help. Mental health is real. Mental health is a real thing. And if you don't take care of your mental health, if you don't literally guard your heart, if you don't set boundaries, if you don't recognize who's who. And one of the things that I want to tell you, brothers and sisters, the older I'm getting, I'm 50 years old, the older I'm getting, brothers and sisters, I'm noticing something about me, right? I'm noticing that one thing that's never changed about me is the love that I have for people. I have a lot of love for people. I'll give my last. I'll give my whatever you need. I got a lot of love for people, and I go all out, and I feel a lot of people what they're going through. But one thing about me, the older I'm finding myself, is I'm not trying to get duped or used or abused or placated or manipulated, or tolerated. Come on, somebody, I can see it before it comes, brothers and sisters. And God gives you that insight and that wisdom. Why? Because you're his child. I'm his child. And he's not trying to get me duped. I shouldn't have dis-ease when I'm approaching somebody or inviting somebody in my life. It should be peace. They should be a blessing in my life, right? They should want the best for me in spirit and in truth. Not in the back of their mind, See, one thing I want to leave you with this, brothers and sisters, and I may be going on a tangent, but, it's very true, right? You can always know if a person really is for you, is got your back, their best interest at heart, whoever it is when they have stuff going on for themselves and their lives. And they have fruit to prove that. They have a life. And when they have a life, right, and their life is fruitful, they want the best out of you. They want the best out of you. They're so busy doing great things for God. They're so busy living their best life. They're so busy doing great things. They don't have time for drama and trivial things. They don't have trauma. They don't have time for literally, psychologically, mentally and emotionally and systematically sucking the life out of you in a lot of different ways, or being trickery, or using, psychology, or words that people read through, Sometimes literally you have to set your boundaries. And if that means that you have to close the door to a lot of people that are really not long-term a blessing in your life, then that's what you have to do, brothers and sisters. That's what you have to do. God wants us to guard our hearts. You have to, because your heart is what? Connected to your mind. Brothers and sisters, if your heart is evil, if your heart is not in the right place, then mentally you're gone. So you have to be sure that you are literally knowing who you are dealing with, whether it be a therapist, whether it be family members, whether it be coworkers, whoever it is. Be a blessing to them in their lives. Absolutely. Represent Christ everywhere you go. But guard your heart in the process. Everybody needs to be heard. Everybody, has triggers, and everybody has vulnerabilities and things of that nature. Some people have anxiety and they never get it checked. They never get it dealt with. They live their life year after year trying to think that they can work it out and do it themselves. No, you need help. And if that means that therapist is going to tell you about yourself in order for you to get set free, or if that therapist literally is keeping it real with you and saying, you know what, I need ammunition. I need other people to help me. You're just on a level where You know, you listen, you trying to act like I need to be on the chair. And I got the degree. Brothers and sisters, stay humble. You don't know everything, and that's okay. If you're the smartest, hear me, I'm going to leave you with this. If you're the smartest one in the room, you got problems. Bless the true and living God.